Okay, so today we're going to talk about increasing end user adoption and changing the conversation with our executives and get them engaged. How many of your executives are highly engaged in your business intelligence or analytic projects? Okay, we have one hand around the room. Okay, is there a problem here? We're going to talk about why that is today and how you guys can change it. So everyone in the room, if you don't have one, please raise your hand. I have given you a copy of my new book. This was a labor of love. It's something that's been on my to-do list or my goal list for 15 years. I like to say that my first language is numbers. I wasn't allowed to write it in hexadecimal or binary, so here it is. So when you read it, if you find a typo, please email me, right? Because there's a few in there that we already know are there. But this is a design that you can give this to your executives. It's written like one of those stories. It's a parable, so it's a little storyline. It's non-technical, but it's written for the executives that are terrified of technology. Does anyone have executives that are clueless when it comes to technology and terrified of it? Maybe a little, right? They think about it. They want to be analytic leaders, but let's be honest, they don't know how to. Let's look at the demographic of our executives. We have a lot of baby boomers, and we have a lot of older Gen Xers, right? They weren't raised with technology. Those are the same people I was training how to use a PC in the 80s, right? And they haven't had a statistic class in over 30 years. So if they're not in finance or something like that, that scares them. So what do? They instead say, that's an IT problem. That's an IT initiative, and they back away. So we're going to teach you how you can overcome that today. As I said, I'm Heather Cole. If you guys are on LinkedIn, please connect with me. I'm posting all the time on ways you guys can become more effective. And guess what? The secret to your success is not learning the tools deeper and being more knowledgeable on it. Did you know that? Learning Hadoop or learning, more detailed tools in Cognos, that's not the true secret to your success. And today we're going to teach you what is. Oh, no, it's not. My new tool isn't working as well as I thought it would. Let's go ahead. Okay, we're going to have to go the fashion way. So a little bit more about me. As I said, I've been in this 25 years. I am what I call a socialized nerd. My natural state is I'm an introvert. Some of you are looking at me and thinking, bullshit, right? But it's true. I would rather be in the woods with a book away from people. What I've learned, though, in my career is that being social is like a muscle, and that when I practice it, and it's hard, and it's uncomfortable, and it's awkward, but guess what? Amazing things happen for your career, for you personally. And so I believe that technology can rapidly change the world, but our challenge is that as highly technical people, the people we work with don't speak the same language. Have you guys ever worked with someone and you're like, oh my God, they just, like, I'm saying stuff and their eyes are rolling in the back of their head? And you're like, oh my God, they'll never get it. Okay, my mom's like that. My mom, you do not talk technology with my mother. So I realized a long time ago that I can't make my mom understand technology, but I can start to speak a different language and talk in her language. So my initiative, my goal in life is to help all those introverted, highly technical people become socialized nerds like me. Because I believe that we can rapidly change the world by doing that. So I went out and I got certified as a high performance coach. And what that means is that is a certification that teaches you how to level up and perform at a higher level. I believe that certain techniques that I have learned have increased my productivity more than 30%. How many of you would like more time in the week to get the cool stuff done? Right? Everyone's raising their hands or nodding right now, right? So what I've done is taken those techniques and teach them. Did you know if you check your cell phone when you first wake up in the morning, you come out of the gate starting decreasing your productivity by 30%? 30%! Just by grabbing that phone first thing in the morning. What you should be doing is starting, letting your brain reboot, and actually mapping out your day instead of reacting to what's in the phone. Okay? When you're reacting, you're on someone else's initiative, not your own. So in my webinars and stuff, I teach that. And like I said, I wrote this book. It was a labor of love, and I'm really excited about it. So what is your biggest challenge? Does anyone want to share what their biggest challenge is right now? Come on, you guys have challenges. Sticking to a plan. Focus, right? Oh, that's mine. That's been on my top of my list for years, me personally and in my business.
Internal resources, IT, is putting out fires and can't focus on the project.
Firefighting, great one. We are going to teach you specifically how to solve that problem, and it can be solved like that. Like there's something that is game changing that I'm going to share with you in a moment. Yeah.
A lot of times people get excited by nicer presentations, but sometimes they don't understand what it takes to get there.
Oh, great one. They see the flashy, right? The software salespeople show up and show them this awesome stuff. And they're like, well, they showed it to us. Just snap it. Let's come on. It should be done in a week, right? So we're going to teach you how to actually address that problem as well. And by the way, you're going to learn that flashy demonstrations are not the secret. Okay, color crayons and markers are going to be your best friends. And some of you are like, what? I told you you're going to change the conversation today, right? How about anybody else? Challenges?
Getting executives to get it.
Getting executives to get it, right? By the way, they're terrified of technology typically, but they don't want to look stupid. There's your wall that you guys have to overcome. And we're going to tell you how to do that today as well. So here are some of the ones that I hear constantly, right? End users don't know what they want or need. We have that challenge all the time, right? They say they want something, you deliver it, and they're like, that's not what I need. You're like, really? Come on, people. Not enough time. Always putting out fires, so we don't get to do the fun, cool stuff, right? Self-service costs too much, and this is actually one that came up out of one of the surveys that we put online for you guys. And we're going to talk about how you get around that. By the way, technology never costs too much, ever, when it shows value. So it's not that they're saying no to you, I won't give you budget. They're saying you haven't proven to me that I should invest in this. That's the difference. We'll show you how today. Data integrity is always a challenge, right? Data is the gold in your company, and a lot of executives still don't realize that. Oh, now it's working. End users are not tech savvy enough. Every time you're rolling out software, you need to make it what I call Susieable. My mother's name is Susan. She kind of is like Lucille Ball, so I call her Susie. And I always say that when I'm rolling something out, if my mother couldn't handle it, then my end users can't handle it. I'll literally say, Mom, I'm going to show you this software. She's like, oh, not again. Right? She's the most tech-savvy 78-year-old there is in Chicagoland. Lack of funding. Does anyone have not enough money for their projects? Heads are nodding, right? Again, there's no excuse for this. This is showing value. And then lack of training. How many of you have been trained and got funding for all the training you want to do? Right? You don't. So again, that comes to showing value, and we'll teach you that today. And then I love this one because I'm all about the crystal ball. How many of you sometimes feel like your crystal ball doesn't work and they expect it to? Right? They think that you can just wave and know what they want, and it's not going to happen. So why are executives disappointed? Do you guys ever feel like you deliver a dashboard or something and the executives are like, yeah, no. Right? By the way, they don't oftentimes tell you that it's not good. They just don't use it. Right? Go look at your usage files and go look at your log files and see what they're using, what they're not. You're going to be shocked at how much time you spent developing these really cool things and they didn't use them. Has anyone experienced that? Right? We're all like, oh. So there's one reason why executives are disappointed, and there's only one reason why anyone is ever disappointed. Think about it. Were you disappointed at anything this morning? What were you disappointed about? Anybody disappointed this morning? I brought the sunshine, so you can't be disappointed about that. Okay, flowers are blooming. Maybe the coffee wasn't hot enough, right, this morning. But here's the secret to life. Literally, secret to life. Secret to your marriages, secret to your relationships. Expectations are not met or exceeded. That's the meaning of life. That's as simple as it is, right? Think about it. If I have the expectation that you're going to deliver something and you don't deliver what's in my mind, what happens? I'm disappointed, right? If you exceeded my expectations, I'm not disappointed. But how often do we do that? Because our crystal balls don't really work. So how do we solve this problem? You solve this problem, you solve half your problems, right? Well, there's this little thing called framing, okay? And you guys probably do this. Your children do this regularly. If anyone has kids, they're masters at it, okay? Here's how it goes. You know that you're going to be late tonight. You're going to get home at 9 o'clock. Late night meeting. So you call your spouse and you say, hey, honey, it looks like I'm going to be late again, right? Are they happy or mad? They're mad. But so I got to put the kids to sleep again, myself again. Like that's my time. Like that's my break, right? So what happens though if you say, hey, honey, I'm going to be late tonight. I'm really sorry. I know that you had a long day with the kids. I'm going to be, probably back at 10, and you show up at like 8:30. What happens? You underpromised, over-delivered, and they're no longer mad because their expectation now is that you were going to get home at 10 o'clock, and you show up at 8:30. Right? With your projects, constant communication is the secret to reframing. Every week, you should be asking the executives or whoever you're delivering the project to, is this still what you want? Because they have this habit of changing their minds, right? Something happens. If you had a pineapple factory, I guess a pineapple plant in Hawaii right now, and there's a big volcano about to explode, you may have a different need on data and information. Like, what are other facilities doing? Are they in jeopardy, right? Suddenly something happens. But if you don't ask the question of whether something changed, are they going to tell you? Probably not. They're out firefighting just like you were. So it's that quick checkpoint. Hey, Bob, I want to check in with you. Did anything change? This is what we're doing. Oh, by the way, we thought we could deliver this, and we're having a challenge. Can you tell me how you were going to use that information? Because maybe there's another way around it. Do you see the difference? Do you see how easy that is? You said that one of your challenges is firefighting, right? Here's a great way to do it. When someone says, hey, I need this right away. Can you get this to me like right away? Maybe the CFO asked for it. What do you typically do? CFO asks for it, drop everything, and you go run in to do it, right? By the way, 90% of the time, they're lying to you. They don't need it right away. They need it before the next board meeting that might be in 3 weeks. So here's how easy it is. So I get that this is pretty urgent. Can you tell me what you're going to be using for it? Is it a board meeting? Is it and when is that? Is this really the absolute date that you need this? Most of the time, they're like, oh, no, I don't really need it until 2 weeks from now. It's like this big pressure valve just fell off of you, right? And now you can start planning it out. So it's just reframing that expectation. Most executives don't know, and actually I talk about this in the book, they don't realize that when they ask you for something, if they are a C level, that sometimes means to some of us, drop everything and do it. And half the time that's not what they really mean. But we forget to ask. Does that make sense? Okay, so under-promise, over-deliver, reframe expectations. Your homework today is to think about situations or conversations you're having and just practice reframing those expectations. It's a muscle. It doesn't come easy, and you got to keep practicing it. How many of you can clearly articulate the strategic goals of your company? I don't see a single hand showing up. Like, come on, guys. Nobody? Let me get this straight. How many of you are on the BI side? Okay, most of the hands just went up, right? So your goal in business intelligence, let me get this straight, is to deliver data and analytics to drive the company to meet these goals, right? Supposedly, right? That's what it's supposedly. Yeah, but you don't know where the finish line is. Houston, we have a problem. Think about it. This is like I have told you, if I'm the executive, I've told you to go run a marathon. In this case, this is an Ironman in this picture. And I never told you where the finish line is. And guess what? I probably didn't even tell you where the course was. And there's probably not any course markers, right? And then I expect you to finish. And when you don't finish, I'm like, IT can't deliver. I don't know what's wrong with them. Other companies are able to deliver. Should we buy more software? Should we buy a different kind of software? Should we get more consultants in here? Because clearly IT is not delivering, right? What the executives failed to notice is they forgot to tell you where the finish line is. By the way, I use a lot of analogies. I'm gifting you these analogies. Please don't feel bad about taking my stories and making them your stories. People, when you're communicating to non-technology people, you need to use a ton of analogies. It's their comfort zone. When I talk about you not telling me where the finish line is, they're like, oh, you're right, we don't. So here's how you do this, right? You go to your executive team and you're like, hey, can I have 5 minutes? Do you have a document or something that could help me understand the strategic goals of the company? Now they're going to be like, what? Why are you asking for that? Well, I'm in business intelligence and my job is to deliver you tools and tools to the whole company to help us get there. So I think it'd be really helpful if I knew where there was. Now at first they're going to look at you like you're a unicorn. They'll do this little, what, right? But then they're going to be like, I like that guy or gal. I'm going to follow them. Those are somebody I want on my team, right? So try and get them in their calendar, but don't forget to tell them why you need the information. We oftentimes in IT, and some of us that are very technical, we just say, I need this. And we forget the why, and we wonder why we don't get it so fast. How fast do you think they'll start sharing the strategic goals? Wow, here you go. Or you're going to have a light bulb effect to them. They're like, holy crud, if they don't know, the rest of the company doesn't know. It's like a boat race and we're all paddling in the different directions, right? So you want to ask, what are the strategic goals of the company? By the way, in my classes, I've been doing this for about 5 years, asking this question. Less than 4% of BI professionals can answer this question. So you're not alone. And by the way, not your fault. The only thing that's your fault is you didn't ask the question, right? But the executive should be communicating this to everyone in the company. Okay, yeah, this is Zach. Had to put Zach on there. So what is the secret to why executives don't meet with you? Here's what I believe. Because a lot of you say, I try and get meetings with them and they blow me off, right? Get that a lot? Here's the bottom line. They don't believe it's a good use of their time. You forgot to clear the why you want to meet with them. Okay? That's going to be key. They think that BI and analytics is an IT project. We need to rewrite that conversation. It is not. It's an organizational process. And by the way, delivering this can help take IT from what doesn't always have the best reputation to become a strategic partner with the entire business. How many of you feel that sometimes in IT we feel like a second-class citizen? They're like, oh, those IT guys and gals, right? We don't get the respect we deserve, and it's kind of because we speak a different language. And by the way, some executives, when we talk to them, because we understand technology, they feel stupid. If I made you feel stupid every time I talk to you, would you like hanging out with me? No, not at all. So yes, am I saying you have to dumb it down? Yeah, kind of. You got to use analogies and stories. And by the way, if you help them through this gap, through this chasm they have, you're going to look like a superhero. They want to learn it. They're terrified to learn it. Think of some time where you were terrified to learn something and how someone bridged you over that gap. Maybe it was the first time you talked to finance and they're talking EBITDA and you're like, I don't even know who EBITDA is, right? And you're like, oh my God, I better look this up. Let me Google it. So if you can overcome these barriers, they will meet with you. Okay, hopefully this will work. I created this video and it was super fun. Okay, so we speak a different language. And you guys are probably like, come on, why can't they understand me? So I'm going to play this little video. This is Blue Angels. And I don't know if you guys can hear this. Can you guys hear that? The Blue Angel, the boss, the head guy, by the way, when Blue Angels fly, they don't look ahead. They're looking at the paint on the plane next to them. Have you ever seen them when they're in formation? They were just in Tampa, where I live now, this weekend, so they inspired me. But so the guy that was like, a little power. By the way, he's communicating how long and how much power by drawing that word out. There's an unwritten communication that you and I are like, why is he singing? Right? He's not. He's telling him how, if he says, turn, by the way, that's the speed and rate in which they're turning. But for those of us that aren't a Blue Angel, we're like, what? How comfortable would you be getting in the cockpit and flying with him? Like if you were the one, like, I don't know what he's saying to do. That's how your end users are feeling today. That's how your executives are feeling. So really be conscious of that communication. Okay. So delivering value on time. So you got to make a good use of their time, right? And you got to communicate in their level. So the first question to ask is, hey, Mr. CFO, what's your biggest challenge? Like, what do you mean? Well, what's your biggest challenge? I don't care what you answer, okay? The other thing is you're going to look at their strategic goals because you're going to already have them. And every project that you want to do, you're going to tie somehow to the strategic goals. You're going to get creative. It may be a little bit distant, but if theirs is increasing market share, you're going to somehow tie your project to increasing market share because that's on the guy's radar. You want to be on their radar. You need to add value. You need to become their trusted advisor. Don't make them intimidated. By the way, most communication, 93% of communication, I can't even say it, is nonverbal. So this eye roll thing that we all do, by the way, that we don't realize we do when someone says something stupid, it shows. They read it and they're like, I don't like him. So you have to, again, get out the muscle and practice not rolling those eyes. Be effective and efficient. And we're going to teach you something real quick. By the way, your phone is going to be your new best friend too, because it has a timer on it. When you have meetings, you're going to set the timer. It's called time blocking, and I have other videos on this I can share with you. If I had all day Saturday to clean my house, how long would it take me? All day Saturday, maybe even to Sunday, right? Because I start, lollygagging, going down memory lane. But if I get the text message going, Heather, we'll be over in an hour, what happens? Mad woman running around the house, vacuuming, the dog's hiding, I'm hiding stuff under beds, but my house is clean in an hour, right? But you're not running your projects like that. Your number one success factor is time. It's not data, it's not delivery, it's time. We have a saying at Lodestar Solutions, it's fail and fail fast, because you're never going to be perfect. But if you're trying to get to perfection, it's going to take you forever, and you won't deliver, and they're not going to be happy with you. Okay? So we're going to teach you what I call the MacGyver approach. You're going to start these executive sessions, and what you're going to do is you're going to say, hey, I'm going to give each one of you a stack of sticky notes, and I'm going to set the timer for 15 minutes. And you're going to write down everything that is your challenge or how you want data, just one idea on each sticky note, ready, set, let's go. And they brain dump. And then you organize it. And we have videos on how to do this more in detail. But, and we actually host classes on this. We do a workshop class that's called Destination Dashboard that one client followed our methodology, and they, through this process, identified a dashboard that if they designed it and built it would save, or actually make their company $1.2 million annually by delivering the data to the sales force timely that was not available today. They figured the cost to deliver that, buying software and implementation, would be about $250,000. How quick do you think they got funding? I will invest $250,000 to save 1.2 annually, and by the way, annually recurring revenue. So every year they get that. They left our workshop, and I think they were floating as they went out because they had this whole presentation all made up and went back, and everyone on that team got promoted within a year. And the trick is a timer, okay, and running these workshops. I believe in requirements discovery, not requirements gathering. The trick here is active listening, which none of us are good at. You know why? You're biologically not good at it. It's not your fault. Our brains, how many of you are highly analytical problem solvers? Everyone's nodding their head or raising their hands, right? Our brains are wired to solve problems. So when I say, hey, I have this problem, we're like, the data's here, and I can build this, and I got SQL here, and I'll grab this, and so you're solving it, right? When you're solving, you stop listening. It just shuts down. And they're going, bloop, 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 bloop. You're like, wah, 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 like Charlie Brown's teacher. And the important things may have been while you were building in your head. So turn that off. It's, again, a muscle. We naturally go to solve it. I do it myself, and I have to go, Heather, pretend you don't know anything about this technology. Stop solving the problem. Listen and ask more questions about the problem. You can build it later. Big thing. Facilitation. How many of you think you're experts in facilitation and running a meeting? I don't see one hand. You want to improve your skills. You want to become a strategic partner to the business. Focus here and learn these skills. Because your job is to take the ideas of non-technology people, try and pull them out of them, bridge the gap to technology, and solve massive problems. And by the way, you're going to solve problems that make more money for the organization. So we talked about sticky notes. You're going to start to use them tons. And the trick here is you're going to start to collaborate with departments you may not like that much. Okay? But I always like it when I have to work with people that I don't really like that much. I think that's my biggest challenge, and I try and rise to the occasion. Right? I'm like, okay, these are the people that hate technology. They don't want anything new. I'm going to win them over. Okay? Presence, by the way, stop taking your phones into meetings unless you're just using for timers. Turn off the Wi-Fi and everything so you're present. And you're going to use a lot of colored markers and papers. And here's how this works, a very Cliff Note version, is you are going to stop designing BI dashboards and showing people them, and you're going to start handing them color crayons and markers and having them draw them. Because what happens is if someone shows me something that's already built, I think they've invested a lot of time, energy, and money into it. And I'm not going to say, like if your neighbor painted their house and you know it was like this ornate paint job and it costs a lot of money and it's heinous, do you tell them it's ugly? Like, oh, it's bright, really bright, right? You don't say, oh my God, why would you ever paint your house that bright yellow? Right? So if it's already baked, they won't criticize it. They won't tell you your baby's ugly. And most of the time your baby is ugly because you can't read their minds. So this is what you do. You're like, hey, I was thinking we'd do this. And you start sketching it on a big piece of paper. And they're like, would that work for me? No. And they grab the magic marker from you and they go, I was thinking more like this. And now what happens? Magic happens. You just save weeks of development because you can get exactly what they want on paper. They're at first going to look at you weird. By the way, you start to use color in what you do. It triggers the right side of the brain, the creative side, to start working. Biologically proven. So to get funding, and this is actually pictures from one of our workshops where people are starting to design and work on this. Identify a business challenge that can, if you deliver information to solve that, will help make or save the company money. That's all executives really care about at the end of the day, right? It can indirectly make or save it, but that's the secret to funding. Do the sticky note exercise, create paper mock-ups, and then you present on paper. You do not present in software, although my next session is on software demonstrations. But we're going to show you, like, you present on paper because they can change it. They're going to tell you your baby's ugly. And they're going to say, well, I thought it'd be like this. By the way, most of us like to put all sorts of bells and whistles and filters, and it looks really cool to techies. And you scare the bejeebas out of your end users. There's too many buttons. Okay, think about that. So we call this the MacGyver approach. You guys know the TV show MacGyver? Everyone loves MacGyver. Because he'd get himself in a situation, and he'd use, like, bubble gum, a shoestring, and a matchstick to get out of it. And you are going to be MacGyver. You're going to start delivering what we call the minimal viable product, not a fully baked solution. And you're going to give them little parts of it. And they're going to go, well, this is good, but I really need to do this, this, and this. Because your end users don't know what they want. Even if they tell you, even if they sketch on paper, once they start using it, they're going to change their mind. Okay. So we're a big believer in sometimes this takes duct tape and super glue. We don't have the data in our data warehouse. Oh, we're going to duct tape it and super glue it, a little SQL, data mart, just to test it. When it's fully tested, now we go to the enterprise data warehouse team and say, this is actually working. And by the way, you've done requirements discovery for them too. Does that make sense? Minimal viable product, it's not going to be perfect, but you've set the expectations of that in the beginning. And so your end users are like, wow, this is great. I'm part of the team. Science also, I read a ton, so I read weird books, but science also proves that when people are involved in part of the process, then they will support it more and they're all in, right? And they will stick with it. So you want them actively involved in the process. One of the surveys we sent out, people talked about self-service and the challenge with delivering self-service. Obviously, the secret here is first, you've got to have really clean data. And that's for most companies the biggest hurdle. Executive engagement, you got to build that ROI for self-service. The MacGyver approach can help you do that. Okay, we have a whole framework for doing this. By the way, sometimes the cost of self-service is because you're not in the correct licensing model. We do support renewals for people, and we also do, Zach does this great, what the heck do you own? So he'll walk you through your licenses and say, this is what functionality you have, and we start to ask how you're using it. If you have more than, let's say, 500 users in Cognos BI, and you're not in a PVU model for those end users, you might be on the wrong licensing model. There's a way, working with Lodestar and IBM, we can get you on the correct licensing model. A PVU license basically makes it so you can have unlimited users as long as you're having good performance for that licensing model. So just know that that may be a problem if you think it's costing you too much. And of course, end user engagement. So I have developed a business intelligence action indicator assessment. This is to help you guys start a new conversation. And I'm going to give you a web address that you could go to for everyone that attended this. That web address is going to give you templates for some of the things I've mentioned today. Later on, I'll be sending out some more videos. I'll send you a link to this recording as well for you to share with people. So the goal here is to start the new conversation. This action indicator is super simple. It asks questions like, are the executives actively engaged in business intelligence, and share the strategic goals of the company? And you score it 0 to 10. Don't worry, most people score it about a 2 coming out of the gate. But you give that to the executives to complete and say, I want to see how we rank compared to our peers in the industry. Right? Your score is going to suck. That's the whole idea. Because the questions are designed to have this aha moment to go, ooh. Like, are you meeting with the BI team quarterly to share with them new insights on where the company is going? How many of you guys get those meetings, right? Nope. So it's really rigged to help start that new conversation. So you guys will be able to download that, print it out, give it to all your people and say, how do we score? Remember, it's just designed to start a new conversation. So call to action, get your strategic goals of your company. Everybody able to that? If you have a problem and you're like, Heather, I'm terrified to do it, call me. I'll walk you through it, okay? We'll practice, we'll role play. Because that's the most important thing to success. You gotta know where the finish line is. Do requirements discovery, not gathering. The key thing here, active listening. We're not very good at that. Use a sticky note exercise to do all requirements. Hey guys, go to marketing. Do you mind 20 minutes of your time? Can you just jot down everything that if you could have data on stuff, what would you be asking for? Set the timer, ready, set, go. Requestability, I am more than happy. So again, this book is really designed for your executive team, right? To get them to have that aha moment that maybe they're not doing what they should be doing. If you guys want copies of this, just email me. I'd be happy to drop ship books for your executive team. People that I've sent this to, this just came out in March. They're like, oh wow, you're changing our conversations. And then sign up for the Action Assessment Indicator. Here's the web address. It's really simple, lodestarsolutions.com/BI-roadmap. If you go to that, you'll have to sign up your email and stuff. Once you do, you'll get an email that has 3 attachments. 2 are from my next presentation, but this will be include that action indicator for you. And once you sign up for that, I'll be sending you other stuff that I had kind of talked about and did like the high gloss over here. Excuse me, so that you can have that. So it's just Lodestar Solutions, and it's LODE for anybody that hasn't worked with us. Okay, we also have this program that I have to tell you about because it's super cool and fun. And we call it Raising the Bar, the Business Analytics Roadmap. This is to get rapid, proven results. If you're still talking to the executives and you feel like they haven't given you an analytic roadmap, they haven't told you the strategic goals and helped you map out what the priorities are, we have a service that can help you do that. You guys can totally do it yourself, but sometimes companies find that when they bring in a consultant, even though they're saying the same thing, the executive thinks the consultant's brilliant, right? And you're like, gosh, we've tried to have these same conversations. Remember, your goal is the end result. If you have to bring in consultants to get you through that, we have this program. We do this in about 2 days of executive time, getting everything fleshed out. We come back with the results, write it up and say, okay, now you can implement it. And we do 1-hour coaching calls with everybody one a month to make sure you're moving in that direction. It's just to support you having that conversation. So how many of you kind of feel like you're drinking from a fire hose, that you had a lot of information here today? Heads are nodding, okay. Just know that we are here to help you. So if you have any questions, here's my contact information. Our kind of motto here at Lodestar is delivering faster analytic success even where others have failed. So if you're like, hey, we tried this, we weren't so successful, or maybe you're saying, hey, we have another partner that does all our Cognos support and consulting, but they're not having these kind of executive road mapping discussions, let us know. We partner with other partners all the time. We're not trying to replace the wheel, we're trying to get you successful faster. The secret to everything is speed. Fail and fail fast, right? So what we do here at Lodestar is we do IBM licensing, support renewals. We also have small projects, and this has been coming up a lot lately, where people that have implemented Cognos for a long time just need a couple hours of an expert showing them how to do something. If you need that, our website has a place you can just put a credit card down, get a couple hours, and solve your problems. We do training and, of course, new projects. Any questions? A lot of information. You guys ready to